Are you looking to learn AWS leadership principles or Amazon leadership principles so you can win your Amazon interview? If so, this video is for you. Hi, my name is Michael Gibbs, and I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Architects. And we're an organization that's dedicated towards building high-performance cloud computing and networking careers. Personally, I've been in the technology field for over 25 years, and I've been helping others get their first tech job or get promoted in tech for over 2 decades. And today we're going to talk about the Amazon leadership principles. See, if you're a cloud computing professional, and whether you're a cloud architect, a solutions architect, a cloud engineer, a DevOps engineer, even a developer, if you want to work at Amazon, chances are you need to be very familiar with their leadership principles. So all kinds of organizations have leadership principles, and some take them seriously and some don't. But one thing I will tell you about Amazon is they take their leadership principles very seriously. And if you look at their products and services, you can see these leadership principles are deeply ingrained in there. And when they hire people to be part of their organization, they're looking for people that know these Amazon leadership principles because it's so important to them, because that's the way they act, that's the way they do things, that's the way they run their business. So we're going to talk about these leadership principles. Now, there's 16 of these leadership principles. 14 of them or so you have control over that you can actually tailor to your interview. So we're going to talk about 14 for which you have the most control. And by doing that, you'll be better prepared for an Amazon interview. So when people at Amazon ask you questions, as you're framing the answer, try to show them that you meet their leadership principles, that they're important to you and you have experience doing so. So the first leadership principle is customer obsession. Let's face it, Amazon is obsessed with their customer success, and it's clearly obvious. Buy anything from Amazon, then return it. It's no questions asked. It's the simplest, smoothest transaction in the world. They are obsessed with customer happiness. So given that that's really important to them, if you want to work there, show them, give them examples of projects that you worked on where you went way above and beyond to make your customer successful. Show examples of excellent customer service that you provided. Show how your work delivered tangible benefits and results for your customer. For example, this 3-tier web design increased customer website availability by 11%. Something tangible. Implemented a new ticketing system that reduced outages by XYZ%. Whatever the case is, show some value, but ideally show how your work has helped your customer, show how you're willing to go above and beyond to help your customers, and show examples of excellent customer service. That's how you can show that you're part and you meet this principle of customer obsession. And let's face it, the best companies in the world are all obsessed with their customer success. The next principle is regarding ownership. And in the Amazon world, leaders take ownership. And guess what? In all well-run companies, leaders take ownership. What does this mean? It means that leaders deliver on what they promise. Leaders think long-term. What does that mean? It means they're not going to take a short-term win to damage the customer or damage the organization. So show this to them. Show examples of delayed gratification. You skipped a vacation to pay for training to get that cloud computing certification that you needed. Show how you worked long and hard after hours to go do a certification or get prepared for a career change. Show how you turned down a sale if it wasn't in the best interest of your customer because you wanted long-term customer success. Show that you're doing the right thing. Show that you're committed to excellence. Show that you take ownership of something. Good leaders do so. You really want to be demonstrating this to, for the most part, any company on an interview, but it's especially important with Amazon. Next one is very Amazon-like. Now, this is good at any organization, but this one is really Amazon-like. The principle of invent and simplify. Invent and simplify really means that leaders are looking to find better ways to do things, to be innovative. How do you do things better, faster, and cheaper? So if you're interviewing with them and you have any patents, talk about it. That shows innovation. If you've written any RFCs, talk about it. If you've developed a better process to do something and simplified it, talk about it. If you found a way to take a complex problem and reduce it to something simpler to make it more efficient, talk about it. If you found a way to save steps, Talk about it. Show how you're good at taking things that are complicated and process heavy and streamlining them. It's very critical to them, and you know what? It's very critical to your customer success. The more layers of red tape you have, the slower things move. The faster things move, the more successful businesses are. That's the reason we're so much involved in technology as it is, to speed things. So invent and simplify. Next principle is that leaders are right a lot. And what really they're talking about here is you don't get ahead by making a lot of rash decisions, flying off the handle, and doing things based upon emotions. This principle about being right a lot is valid in any interview, at any organization. It's really about being safe. See, everybody makes mistakes, but mistakes happen a lot less often when you think before you act, when you make data-driven decisions because you have data, when you ask a lot of people for perspectives at a time and you don't just act willy-nilly. So how do you do this? How do you impress this upon them while you're there? First, show accuracy. When someone says something to you, make sure you confirm it. Mike, I would like you to talk about designing the network. Okay, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. You would like me to discuss designing the network. Repeat it back. It shows accuracy. It's used in all kinds of important communications. If I were to tell a nurse to give 4 milligrams of IV morphine to a patient who's having a heart attack, she's going to repeat back to me, 4 milligrams IV morphine. And I'm going to confirm it to make sure there's no dosage problems if I were to call a patient at the hospital or nurse at the hospital for a patient. A military person calls another military person. They say, meet me at XYZ quadrant. The military person says, roger that. Shows accuracy. It shows attention to detail, and it shows the lack of making mistakes. So next, well, being right a lot. Show that you have a lot of attention to detail. Show that you are laser focused on achieving the mission and being successful. Show that you're open-minded, because closed-minded people make mistakes because they don't listen to others, and others may have a better way to do things. Show that you're a team player, because the value of a lot of people on a team is greater than a single person and what they can do. Anything special is going to need a team. Show that even when you know, you double check to make sure you don't make mistakes. Show that you're willing to read 5 minutes of documentation to save 5 hours of troubleshooting. No, seriously, just show care and being methodical and an attention to detail, and that shows that you're right a lot. And this will be valid by Amazon, but also any other organization as well, because no one can afford to make these kinds of mistakes. The next principle is learn and be curious. What a great principle, and this works everywhere as well. It means you're never done learning. Let's face it, if you work in tech or any good job for that matter, you're never done learning. Learn and consistently seek to get better. So at Go Cloud Architects, we have a motto, and it's called Get Better Every Day. I try to get better every day in some way. Get better every day, so never stop learning, and show them you don't. If you read 3 books a week, tell them about the 3 books a week. If you read 2 books a week, let them know in an interview. Show advances in your education. Show certification progress, but not in the wrong way. If you're go from an associate to a professional expert, that's progress. Don't get a bunch of junior certifications because it dilutes your brand. But you know what? Show anything. Show that you're doing master's degrees or doctoral degrees. Just show them that you're reading. Show that you're reading things. Contribute to a working group. Just learn and be curious. Show that you're trying to be better in some way, shape, or form every single day. It doesn't even matter which way. Just try to get better every day. The next part is about hiring and developing the best. Good leaders hire great people. They find great talent, and they lead that talent, they train that talent, and they reward that talent when that talent does well. So if you're a leader, give some examples of people that you took in and how you trained them and coached them and how they positively impacted the company. Give tangible examples and metrics if you have them. If you're not a leader, you're an individual contributor, that's okay too. Show how you work to bring up others around you. Show some tutoring or mentoring that you've done. Show them some training that you've done. Just show how you're committed to helping others and bringing up the energy of the team. In either case, you can still be a leader. A leader doesn't have to be the manager. Anybody can be a leader. Bring out the best in others. Train, tutor, be more emotionally intelligent. Hire the best, develop the best. Make it clear that if you're a leader, because it's your title, you're bringing out the best, hiring the best, and training the best. And if you're not, you're still bringing out the best in others. In either case, you're going to look good at Amazon and any other company for that matter. This one insists on the highest standards. Let's be fair, as a leader, it's best if you insist on high standards. If the leader's standards are high, the team's performance is going to be high. If the leader's standards are low, the team's standards will be low. And we want high performance, and Amazon's a high performance company, so they want to insist to have leaders with high standards. But let's face it, all good companies have leaders with high standards. So make it clear on these interviews, if you're a leader, that you know how to execute, that you will get the job done with excellence, that anything less than excellent is just not good enough, and you work to get better every day. Better every day. So if you're an individual contributor and you're not the manager, make it clear that you always deliver on your commitments and you're committed to delivering with excellence and you work to get better every day. Same thing. You can still be a leader even if you're not the leader. Make it clear that you've got a keen attention to detail for that individual contributor, and that you'll double check or do whatever you need to make sure mistakes aren't made, because quality matters. Insist on the highest standards. That's how you show them that in your answers to your questions. Make sure you get that clear. The next one is think big. Well, seriously, think about Amazon. Think about the size of them. Think about everything they do, the bold direction, the way they innovate. Think about these giant routers they had created for them. Think about these giant servers that they had to have designed and built for the cloud. They think big. Make it clear you've got a strategy. Make it clear that you're a hunter. Make it clear that you will look for opportunities to make the company better. Make it clear that you're not just going to sit there and wait for things to happen. You're not going to report the news, you're going to make the news. So think big and make it clear that you're an innovator, you have a strategy, and you're always going to work to get better. See, it all goes back to getting better every day. For the most part, getting that clear to any organization is work, but think big and innovate. The next principle, and it's kind of a great principle, is the bias for action. And think about cloud computing, it's a bias for action. What they're talking about is they're looking for speed, agility, and not wasting resources. If it's a simple yes-no decision and it's very simple, don't bring a committee of 50 people and waste 2 hours of 50 people's time. Make a decision, and that's what we're talking about. How do you show you've got a bias for action? Show you can decide, act, and execute, so that you can make a decision. Some things are very easy. Show speed and agility. Why are we moving to the cloud? Because things that used to take 6 weeks can be done in 6 seconds. Show that you can do things that are quickly, but you're methodical enough to take the time for the things that need the methodical, because you're committed to excellence and not making mistakes. But have a bias for action. Don't be the person that needs a decision by committee for every. Next principle is frugality, meaning be careful with resources. Now, this is kind of one of those things. There's some serious abuse of corporate resources out there. People expensing $5,000 bottle of wines, you name it. You read enough expense reports, you're going to see them. So they're not really talking about being cheap here. What they're really looking for is to see that you value the company's money and that you consider the company to be your family. And if you view the company to be your family, you're going to view the company's money as if it's your own money, and you're going to spend the company's money the way you would spend your own money. Now, I got to tell you, that's pretty important for any organization you work with. Amazon does have a much stronger culture of frugality than a lot of the other tech companies, so it matters to them. But look at their business. Look at their retail, low prices. Even if the margins aren't great, it's in their business, so it makes sense. They're living in according to these principles, the principle of frugality. So don't be the person on that interview that shows that you need to spend $1,000 for lunch and you need to go to the most expensive golf courses in the world just to be able to have a meeting with your client. This is not the right company for that. There are times where it's appropriate for in business, but be the person that doesn't need the $10,000 lunch to close a deal. Because if you need that $10,000 lunch to close the deal anyway, there's probably something else that's missing. So show that you can fit into the culture of frugality. The next part is with regards to earning trust. Now, when you interview for any company, it's about, can they trust you? In fact, the second most common thing employers tell you is, can they trust the person? And what do most people do in an interview? They lie. So it instantly destroys the trust. So how do we keep this trust? First, we're not going to lie on an interview. No matter what, don't lie. But speak authentically. Treat others well. And this is coming from the leadership perspective, where if you're the leader and you make a mistake, they want you to be willing to say, I messed up, and I made a mistake with this, this, and this, and be able to point at your failures, because it shows that we, the leader, are still vulnerable and we make mistakes like anybody else, and we're willing to criticize ourselves, not just other people. So here's the thing, earn trust. If you're a manager, show them how you're willing to accept the wins and the losses because you're part of that team. So be authentic in these interviews. Be authentic in your answers. Make sure people know it's real, because people can sense it if it's not. If people ask you things that you don't know, don't lie. Don't bluff. It's one thing to say, I've not had the opportunity to learn that yet. And it's another opportunity to make things up. So earn trust and don't lose it. It's pretty important to them. It's pretty important to most employers. And I got to tell you, of about 5,000 interviews that I've done with people, about 4,950 ended when the trust was lost. So be trustworthy. The next principle we're going to talk about is deep dive, as they call it. Leaders are connected, is what they're saying. Leaders, the perspective of a good leader is not in an ivory tower. So let's be fair. In a good organization, the leader knows what's going on at all levels. In a bad organization with 50 layers of management, each manager tells the manager above them, everything's great, everything's great, everything's great, everything's great. Meanwhile, the company could be losing money and the CEO might not even know anything that's going on, because all the CEO hears is, everything's great. So what Amazon's talking about in their leadership principles is that the leaders are out there, they're in it with everybody else. And they need to be in it, because if you're not in it with your team, if you're not on the battlefield, if you're not on the trenches, things go on and you don't know what they are. And if you don't see the problems firsthand, it's whispered down the lane and then you never get to solve things. So leaders are in the trenches, and that's what we're talking about. Show, if you're a leader, show how you're willing to get in there with your team. Show how you've gotten in there with your team to the team's success and you're part of it. Be willing to admit when you've made mistakes, and be willing to take the rewards as well as sharing the rewards with your team. That's part of their dive deep. But show that you're there with them. Show that you're not above anything. Show that if something falls on the ground while you're on an interview, pick it up. Never say this is not my job, and make it clear that you are part of that team and you want to do anything to make the team survive. The company's a family. You're an important part of that family. Dive deep, and that's really what you're talking about there. Have backbone, disagree, and commit. Now this one's a really tricky one, everyone. Have backbone, disagree, commit. What they're really talking about is that they don't want somebody to do something that's wrong. If something's wrong or it's not right for the customer, say something and do something about it. Don't just go along due to peer pressure. So that's what this is about. Have backbone, disagree, and commit. Now, for you on an interview, this is a tricky one. Here's the reason. The most likable people and the people with the most social skills typically have the best careers. So if you're gonna have backbone and disagree, make sure it's worth it. So if the group is doing something that's wrong, don't just go along. This is when you decide to act. This is when you disagree, and this is when you stand up. So my suggestion is don't bring up this topic. Just let this be one of those leadership principles you don't touch. But if you get asked about a time where you had to go against the grain or go against the team, find one where you did, where you saw something that wasn't right for your customers financially, legally, or there was some other problem which caused you to go through. Talk about what you did, meaning at least raising it to your management to talk about it, and then talk about whatever solution that you solved and how it benefited the customer. Did it increase the customer's revenue? Did it decrease the customer's expenses? Did it increase the customer's availability, increase their security? Or how did it help the customer? Or how did it protect the company from a legal problem? Show how going against the grain helped the organization or helped the organization's customer. Because as a rule, you don't want to go against the grain too much, but you do want to go against the grain when it's wrong. So that's really what we're talking about here. Next principle, deliver results. Deliver results is really about leaders focusing on the key inputs for their business and making sure that the right things come in and the right outputs are delivered. And if there's a setback along the way, results are still delivered the right way, that you never settle and you always deliver with excellence. So how do you do this? How do you show this? Show that you can execute. Show that you'll get the job done. Show that you will not quit until the job's done. Show that military mental toughness or grit, that no matter what it takes, as long as it's ethical and appropriate, you're going to keep doing it, that you won't quit until the job's done. This is the key. Organizations know that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't try, and organizations know those that are willing to go above and beyond will go above and beyond and get the job done and win. Because if you keep going and you fight hard enough, you will win. So show that you can execute. Show that you can get the job done. And if you have some clients and you've transformed their business, and if you're coming from any kind of consulting or architecture role where your business is about transformation, you should have some examples like this. So show how you transform your clients, and if you've got a tangible way to do it, increased revenue by X, Y, Z%, decrease downtime by whatever, increase customer satisfaction by whatever, deliver results and show that you can. So in today's video, we discussed the Amazon leadership principles. If you're interviewing with Amazon, somewhere in the interview, you have to show them that you meet these leadership principles. So please inject these terms into your interview, deliver these things, and show them that you're part of their family, that you can meet these leadership principles and be a perfect fit for their culture and team. This is Michael Gibbs. I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Architects, and it was very nice discussing AWS and Amazon leadership principles with you today. It was so nice having you join us for this video today. Let me tell you about some free services we do for the cloud community. Once per week, we actually have a free question and answer session live on YouTube, where you can come and ask us any questions you want about building your career related to cloud computing or networking, and we'll answer them in real time for you because we want to get you to your goals. Several more times per week, we have guests from industry experts that I've known for decades that are movers and shakers that have changed the world, that can give you information so you can build the best career. I invite them periodically. They are on my show. If there's a chance to do some free training on our channel, we'll do it live because we want you all to have the best skills for the best career. So please subscribe and hit the bell. I look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to assisting you in your technology career. Thank you so much. This is Michael Gibbs from Go Cloud Architects.